You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Pretty Little Liars After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Pretty Little Liars After Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Pretty Little Liars After Show. We are in Season 5, Episode 2, Whirly Girly, and I am your host, Kelly, and I have a fabulous set of co-hosts with me.
Hi, everybody. It's Stephanie Wenger.
Hey, everybody. I'm Francisco Thuurston.
And I'm Emma K.
And we had a pretty, I don't know, what'd you guys think of the episode? Everybody was like, I don't know, it seemed like not a lot happened, but a lot did happen. Let's start from the top with the girls at the police station. What was your reaction to that?
It was definitely a bold move, but I think since it's already Season 5, so we're expecting more of a wow, like a punch moment that we haven't really gotten, except the whole Ezra being shot.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they've been trying to avoid the police. That's what we've seen throughout most of these seasons.
Right.
And to see them walk in was kind of an interesting place to start the episode for sure. I don't think it was definitely not what I was anticipating happening tonight.
I mean, that's the only that I was expecting them to go to the police. A's dead. You know, Allie's back. Who else is she going to need to answer to, you know? Eventually, she's going to have to speak to some kind of official law person, and what better way to just start it right off and throw
I
it
was just going to say that. I'm like, well, either she needs to walk in or they're coming to her. So either way, she needed to get that resolved.
So did you guys notice her getting a text or looking at her phone before she actually had the conversation with Holbrook?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a quick little peek in the bag. I didn't think much about it, but then all of a sudden she goes into one of her famous Allie stories, and the girls are kind of looking at each other, and her whole story changes from the truth to she was kidnapped and held hostage, but her story doesn't seem to make sense. And Holbrook is kind of punching holes in all of it.
Sorry, there's a bug.
There's an attack of the mosquitoes. So he's kind of punching holes in her story, and I mean, we all know she's a great actress in character and out. She, is the best at telling stories. Did you feel that that she was at all sincere about being scared and all of that, the way that she kind of came across to the police?
I don't think so, but I think in a way she wanted them to know she's not telling the truth, because you could tell, Allie being the infamous liar that she is, holding her breath at a young age to scare her mom.
Yeah.
She's capable of pulling it off, and it seemed like she was doing it with the flaw for him to know that there's something going on, even though she couldn't come, and say she's lying.
Yeah, it seemed like she was creating this kind of web of lies, and I couldn't exactly figure out why she wanted to create the web of lies. I mean, there's obvious reasons, but also I kind of wondered if she wants her story to crack in some way, like, because these lies they keep growing bigger and bigger.
We just kind of quickly see how fast Allie can just swoop right everybody up into her own little world. It's Allie's world and no one else's world. Everyone's living in Allie's world.
Everybody just seems to go with it automatically. Nobody calls her out. Nobody contradicts her. And the thing that kind of is interesting for me is why she felt the need to go kidnapping versus somebody was threatening me. I was left for dead. Somebody saved me, and I had somebody chasing me all this time. I couldn't go back home.
But who's gonna believe her story? Like, and you come out and say, "Oh, it's someone by the name of A that I don't know who it is." So,
but she did know who it was. Like, at this point, they did know who it was. So I've just, why go the whole other route to do the whole basic A story? I don't know who kidnapped me. I was blindfolded the whole time.
It leads to the questions of who's in her grave. And how did that person end up in there? And who was the one that actually hit you over the head? So there's a lot of questions that are going to come up. And I'm sure, you know, as Emily says later on in the episode, she's trying to find the answers for herself, you know, regarding her mom and why she did what she did before the police get to it. So I could kind of understand why she didn't tell the truth, because she wants to get answers from her mom. But at the same time, it's just creating the whole web of lies all over again.
And it's just creating a whole other, pool of questions that are so off. Well, not completely off base. Kind of goes in line.
There's too many holes in her story right now for me. She's saying she got blindfolded and. Sorry, I don't know what that is.
But then, you know, I'm also thinking she could be even in a bigger trouble if she faked her death versus saying she was hostage.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I was like. Sorry. I can't. There's a lot of holes in her story right now. She said she got blindfolded. She said she got kidnapped. She didn't know who did it. But why is there a dead girl? I mean, that would have been my first question. I'm like, okay, well, then why is this dead girl in a grave and you're saying you got blindfolded and kidnapped? Like,
I think what all the lies are kind of giving her at the very least is time, though. She's getting time to kind of make her story better, because the police are going to have to figure out what's the truth and what's not. And so by walking into the police station and telling all these lies, she's earning herself, you know, with this police station, who knows, months?
Well, that's true. They tend to take a while.
Or do you think she texted, you know, for someone to come and, like, save her or pick her up, and she was waiting for a confirmation to see, you know, how long it was going to take, or what truth she was going to tell?
Right. Well, and that's the big question, I think, that from tonight's episode, at least in my opinion, is can we trust her? Can we trust her that she really is looking out for the team and not just herself? And it still begs that question. Was she always involved in some way, shape, or form? Does she know more than she's letting on? I still feel that question is still kind of hanging there, even with the kind of Shauna reveal and all of that. Because she just I don't know. She just plays that part so well. It's still just kind of creepy the way that she handles things, and then the whole situation with her brother. Like, is he on to her, or is he the bad guy? Like, just the reception coming home was a little odd, I think.
They were definitely painting Jason tonight as a bad guy in the way, just even in the way they filmed the episode. It felt very, he was like in the shadows, and like, it felt like they were definitely painting him as being someone who had a lot of secrets.
Creepily, like, entering her bedroom.
Anything we know by season 5 of PLO is that anything that's obvious is usually not the truth. That's the complete opposite of what it usually is. So
do you think Jason's a good guy then?
I don't think he's either or. I think he might be just as confused as the rest of us, trying to find answers, and he just got caught up in the web of lies, you know, peeling one layer at a time. And, you know, everyone has their personal siding, you know, what they're going to side with, and some things he may or may not have agreed with. But we all know it started back from, you know, the Nat and the whole crew and the team that they had. Whatever happened, whatever Allie knows, it's that whole group that's hiding that secret that we need to find out what it is.
Well, then it takes you back, and at least I wonder, what if he was working with Ezra this whole time to kind of uncover all of that stuff? Because you remember that whole money exchange and that whole weird situation, we couldn't figure out what was really going on there. Maybe he was kind of following him around as he was investigating for his book, and maybe that's how they were both getting answers. So maybe he did know all along she was alive and was trying to find her, but not necessarily as a bad guy. Maybe just really trying to figure out what's going on.
I think Jason, in this episode, we kind of see how attached Jason is to Mrs. D, and we kind of see that, you know, their relationship is probably stronger. I personally think that Jason might have known what Mrs. D did to Allie, and that's why he feels so maybe awkward around her. You know, he watched her creepily in bed, and he's like, that's my theory. I feel like he knows.
I think he knows a lot more than he's letting on too.
I know we've talked about this in past seasons, that all these characters are shades of gray. There's not a good or a bad, and that's, yes, thank you for the shades of gray reference. But I just think that with Jason, he could be acting in some way as a protector of Allie, but there's also there's a dark side to him, and I don't know what he knows that's kind of the dark secret, but I also feel like he's trying to be that brother protector figure.
What was interesting to me is that when Allie asked, so what was the mom's reaction when she found out I was alive? And, you know, it was kind of like off to me because she just came home tonight. And how long have they known that she's alive? I mean, we figured that, you know, she knew Allie was alive based on, you know, her keeping her room and the whole attic and the fireplace, you know, coming in and out. But Jason knew as well, and how long has he known?
I mean, that in itself, it could be like foreshadowing for something else. That, you know, why was he cleaning his car in the middle of the night? What was he doing in New York? You know, was, you know, he the one that actually, you know, is saving his sister by doing the unthinkable, you know, to this mother that he loves so much. I mean, because you got to remember, too, he was a rejected kid. He was, you know, the neighbor's son. His dad isn't his dad, and that when that secret came out, and that was a secret that Allie hung over the heads of her parents. Of her mom and then of Spencer's dad, right? That whole animosity and all of that. So there's definitely so much more to this story. And then all the people that have been killed along the way. Like, what did they find out? What did they stumble upon? And who is really behind all this? Because I really just can't believe that it was Shauna this whole time with all of those little strings. There's just no way.
No, I mean, Shauna only met Allie when she went into hiding.
Right.
So who was 8 before then?
Exactly.
Because we find out that
but even before then,
Melissa was getting the text messages. You know, Allie was getting the text messages. So it wasn't just Allie. It was more than one person that was getting the text messages.
I mean, there's definitely...
I can't wait
telling you
for
it's
that.
Dr. Sullivan. I'm going to say it every time.
I can't wait for that series finale where they do the, like, replay of everything and just everything clicks and makes sense, and I'm like, oh my gosh!
It's so obvious. How did we miss it?
I can't wait for that moment because I'm gonna feel so relieved.
As I said before, over and over again, I think this is a generational thing, and it has to be someone older that's controlling the whole group. It can't be someone, you know, that's their age or even, you know, a couple of years older, because there's way too much going on. It definitely needs sophistication, but also someone that has information on everyone.
Yeah.
So
there's no
and
ways.
they're getting back into old habits as far as keeping things from each other. You know, Allie got that text message, and Emily doesn't want to tell Aria because she's already freaking out, and those kind of bad habits are starting to kind of develop again.
And that's ultimately when they're at their weakest.
Yes.
We see it when the girls divide up and they don't share everything. That's when more problems arise for them. It's when they're working as a team that they're definitely able to put those puzzle pieces together, because they each, we've talked about it in past episodes, have their strong qualities, but they have weaknesses as well. And so when they're all together, it's definitely a better team.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely need to unite and stop thinking that the one knows more than the other. They're all in the same playing field right now.
Yeah, they are all being trailed by whoever is coming after them right now with these text messages, and have been going through the same thing. So it's better with power in numbers. Why do you guys keep doing this to yourselves?
I know.
Season after season.
And real quick, I mean, all of a sudden there's a random dog.
Oh, yeah.
Pepe serves his purpose at the end, but I mean, all of a sudden, just Pepe shows up, and there's no real explanation other than the mom was trying to rescue him. So
I still
Allie
want
takes it
the
in.
bird to come back.
I know. What was the bird's name? I can't remember.
Leave that bird at home.
Yeah.
I loved that bird. That bird was awesome.
I feel like the dog just served the exact purpose of this episode. They needed some way for everyone to discover that body. And without the dog, they wouldn't have had a way to get there. And so
so definitely.
Nothing's gonna dig a hole in the ground other than a dog,
Right.
Unless you're like trying to do some landscaping. But
I just
But I feel like the intro was so awkward.
yeah, I completely agree. And I also wonder if we'll see that dog again, or is this was just like a
Cameo.
for the story, like we'll just because like characters go in and out on the show, so it's possible animals would too.
Pepe's too
Well,
cute.
we've seen one at least.
Yeah,
I would like to see Pepe hang
Me too.
around and be like a protector of Allie.
She needs a protector because Lord knows those other girls can't protect
Why did she
anybody.
not take Pepe with her when she went to the cemetery? I mean, she can't be running off by herself.
Pepe, bring him along, girl.
Okay, what else do we have here?
I thought Aria was an interesting
Yeah, and the violin music, she's dreaming about the whole murder, well, not the accident, self-defense, let's say. She's dreaming about that, and all of a sudden wakes up and there's violin music in her backyard. How creepy is that?
Yeah, that's, I don't know why she didn't go outside and look.
She kind of looked out the window,
It wasn't
closed
good
the
enough for
window.
me.
I really thought she was going to go off at Mona when she walked in and she was sitting with Mike at the table. I was like, I can't believe you're so calm about it. I would have kicked this girl out and bolted the doors.
Yeah.
Told Mike you can't see her anymore. But she's like, she's not confronting that, but she's scared of violin music that's playing in her backyard.
Can we
And
talk
we have
about...
the hashtag Aria versus Mona, but I didn't really see too
No.
much of that. No,
I wanted to
Mona
see
always has
more.
the upper hand. Like,
Yeah.
I want to see, I agree with you. I want to see more of that. What do you want to
Can we talk about how Cody Christian is looking...
Oh, Mike is growing up.
Everyone is coming back, hot and done.
Mike is
Like, where did these muscles come from? Why do you look like a grown-ass man?
Yeah, lots of hot boys running around there.
Yep.
No, he definitely looks good, and apparently he put the violin music on.
Well, he
iPod.
didn't remember. He said, "Oh, I might have." He didn't remember if it was coming from his room.
Yeah, he borrowed Aria's iPod, and then it was like, oh, maybe I did have it on, and I found that to be an interesting point to not be able to recall. If you,
I don't think maybe he wanted to maybe admit it in front of Mona. He's trying to be...
he said he was putting music together for a history project, but then he couldn't remember what music it was. That's kind of odd.
It's fishy.
Yeah.
It's fishy.
Also,
Who
it's
knows?
fishy, that whole relationship between him and Mona. I can't totally...
Well, I think he's the younger one. I think he's definitely really into it, and he's the one that pursued her in the episode today.
That's true.
And I think she obviously has ulterior motives for that, but he's hot. Why not?
Why not? Get him on him.
And you have to remember, Mona's the new it girl around school. So being, what is he, like a freshman, sophomore, dating
he's a sophomore now, maybe?
dating a senior,
knows?
it's a reputation thing amongst his buddies, and she's the new Alison, around school.
From his perspective, I totally get why he would want to be with her.
But I'm not doubting him that he's doing it with, other motives as well, and it's just to probably help Aria with uncovering something. I don't know.
So you
because
think
he's very in tune with what goes around him.
See, I thought it was more of a selfish move on his part to be like, oh,
He's just a guy being a guy.
No,
Yeah.
because he's very, from all the people, even though he was against the whole Aria and Fitz thing, a relationship they had, he's actually been one of her supporters.
Right.
And making, sure she's happy and doing what she needs to do. But he also, overheard the whole Fitz conversation. He's like, oh, is she okay? What's going on? So I think he's very knowledgeable around his surroundings and what goes on, but he doesn't speak too much about it.
See, I felt like it was more that he was sick of being second fiddle to his sister. Like, constantly she's the center of this universe, it feels like, with her friend dying and all of this happening. And he was like, well, I get to be with the girl, the popular girl now. Like, I'm going to go for it. I don't care if she has whatever. He doesn't see the motives that she might have.
I kind of agree. It could go both ways. He could be selfish, or like she said, I feel like he knows about Mona and he knows what the girls went through with Mona, so maybe he could be keeping the enemy close. And Mona's keeping the enemies close as well. So maybe they could also both be doing the same thing.
Yeah, because that's what has done, stuff for him as well, like, saving him with the whole school situation, talking to the principal.
Right.
So he's done things for them and for the family that maybe he just feels like, he needs to play his part in saving or getting some answers for his sister.
I feel like it's going to be bigger. I feel like his role in that relationship is going to be something bigger. I don't feel like it's going to be just this relationship, or he's just going to wind up getting hurt in the crossfire.
Yeah, that's what I kind
yeah.
of feel like, is that he's going to end up being a
Casualty.
Yeah,
casualty.
casualty.
We'll see.
Toby's back.
Toby is back with his long hair.
Cut it off.
Hashtag cut the hair.
Oh man, Toby looks so good with the.
He came with the Euro cut.
Yeah, he did. He was in London.
He goes to
comes back.
London, comes back with long hair. I don't get it.
So we know from last episode Melissa is back. We didn't see Melissa this time, but her mom didn't have nice things to say about her. It's like Melissa came back with, nothing but attitude and secrets. So she obviously knows that there's something fishy going on there. Then they find out that Melissa had told a story that she came back rushing home because Toby went to London and saw her, but he actually ran into Ren, who is living where Melissa was supposedly staying in London.
And didn't, when she came back, didn't she say, you know, she came back because she was concerned about Spencer and what she was going through?
Yes.
And so how does she know if Toby never even spoke with her? So, you know, it raises a whole new, different level of questions.
Yeah.
Of how did you know all that information?
And we've always kind of suspected that Melissa was all, you know, definitely not genuine in her concerns. There's more going on back there than meets the eye and that we've yet to find out.
We see where she ends up. She ends up in the meeting with Mona, and obviously there was some kind of communication along that path where Melissa was like, Allie's back. I'm going to go get that beach.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she obviously has a secret she wants to tell that her dad is keeping her from telling. So
yeah.
We'll soon find, hopefully.
Secrets.
Maybe in season 7. Find out what that's all about. And, I mean, I think that it makes it also seem that we're going to see more of Ren coming back and figuring out what his role is.
I've had so many crazy, you know, theories being tweeted about the whole Ren situation.
Share one with us.
That he's the one that helped Melissa switch out the DNAs of the dead bodies girl and Allie. So that's why they didn't know it was Allie was in the one that was dead, because he works in the hospital. So
he definitely plays a part in getting in and out of Radley, and you know, with the testing and all of that. He's definitely one of them. Him and Dr. Sullivan, I'm telling you.
I was going to say, I think we've talked about him as being deeply involved in this previously.
And then we have Jessica. All episode, we're trying to find Allie's mom. Allie's dad goes over to Hannah's house and tries to get Ashley to kind of snoop into her emails to see if there's any sign of where she could possibly be. Everyone seems to think Jason is hiding her, and he's pretty defensive and stuff about that, and he's coming across as more angry and secretive versus worried, so it's hard to kind of tell what he does know or doesn't. I don't know. And then...
Well, he definitely wants to keep his distance from the girls and make sure, you know, they don't come around the house, or is very overprotective of Allie, you know, creepy, watching over her while she's sleeping at night, questioning, you know, the girls while they're over at the house. So who knows what he knows?
What was he doing in Philadelphia? What was he dropping off at that
well,
shady
obviously
building?
It wasn't to Mrs. D, so...
No.
Who could
Melissa.
it be?
I don't know.
No, Melissa's in town. She's not a secret.
What could he have been?
Well, she hasn't been around for this episode, so who knows where she's staying, or
maybe it's Jenna.
where their corporate offices.
Oh God!
Yeah. Since they busted up the lair, they had to have another one.
No, not. I hope Jason's not in the mix. I hope he's the cool brother, and he's just feeling really awkward about what he knows.
Yeah, maybe. And then we have Spencer and Toby. You know, we went to Toby's back, and, you know, Spencer, you know, gets right back on that train and
Why not?
starts ignoring her phone calls. But then they have this weird moment where she gets really emotional. She doesn't want to answer the phone, and she says it's not because of Allie, it's not because of her sister, it's not because of anything. So I wonder kind of what's going on there.
I feel like he's always been so good at reading Spencer. Like, Spencer tries to internalize so much, and what's so interesting about that relationship is he kind of reads her like a book. Like, he knows what's going on for the most part with her, for at least in the last few seasons.
She's kind of easy to read a little bit, though. Like, you can kind of see when you know something like Allie being around town is happening. Spencer is that kind of girl, I feel like, that we see her just, you can see her react. You can see her change emotionally when stuff is apparent.
Yeah.
So maybe that's, you know.
Yeah, she tries to be super strong, but sometimes it gets overwhelming, and it just kind of all comes to a head.
I'm actually liking her mom being on her side, even though she's being a mom and holding her accountable for her whereabouts and what she was doing. I feel like we're seeing the parents split and take sides, with the mom on Spencer's side and the dad on Melissa's side. So it's going to be interesting to see how that whole story uncovers as well, and what happens between the parents, and what is the dad hiding that we don't know about. Why is he protecting Melissa?
Yeah.
I mean, I really have a good feeling that he's the one that killed Miss D.
Mrs. D. Because she got that email Hannah looked at the email and it said that Mrs. DiLaurentis couldn't protect anybody anymore the night she disappeared.
She was going to send the email and didn't end up sending it. So
I
who
think
was she
it was
going to
to-
send it to?
Maybe Allie?
I don't think so.
No, maybe it was to
The dad.
To Spencer's dad. Maybe.
And
Yeah.
boom.
Because there was a lot going on between them too that was pretty weird. I mean, minus the having a child together.
Yeah, on a slightly related note, I do appreciate that this season we're seeing the parents be parents. I know we've
Yes.
talked about this before.
Except for Aria's parents.
They're just gone.
Order food.
Hasn't she been, been back from Europe yet with her boyfriend,
Right.
the mom? Like, where is she?
That was the only thing was we didn't have any mention of Aria's parents aside from Mike saying Dad said to order dinner. They
Yeah.
with the pizza.
I feel like Aria's dealing with it all by herself.
Yes.
There's no parental guidance at all.
Yeah.
No, poor thing.
I know, it's really tough.
But we did see a lot more parents in this episode than we've seen in a while.
Because sometimes you have these girls out in the middle of the night, and I know I've always been like, oh, where would my parents be like, no, that's not an acceptable thing for you to be doing. You need to be home.
I
So-
also like that Allie's dad is back in the picture. I mean, we've seen him only like once or twice, so
Right.
it's good to see him back, and I want to get a backstory on him to find out what happened. I mean, I know he says they're not living together anymore, but what is he seems to have a lot of issues with Jason, and I don't think it has anything to do with Allie's disappearance. Maybe, it's the fact that he's not his son, but there seems to be a lot of tension between them two. I want to know more of a backstory. Maybe a flashback.
Yeah, they've done a few different flashbacks throughout the seasons that we see a lot of the fighting was because she was adamant that Allie was still alive. He wanted to move on and kind of deal with it. So there was a lot of animosity there between the parents, which I think was one of the big reasons for the separation, and just having to deal with the fact that Jason wasn't his, and he found out at a really not that long ago before Allie disappeared, I think. So he had thought all of this time, and then to have that bomb thrown, and then the family lives across the street, and just kind of, it's not a good situation all the way around, and that's a lot of stuff he had to deal with.
One moment that I really, really loved out of this entire episode, and one of the most emotional moments that I've seen on Pretty Little Liars, was the scene with Allie and
All by herself.
with Mr. D.
Yes,
It was.
yes.
It just seemed real.
when he pulled the photo out of his wallet. Yeah,
It just seemed like, because a lot of the time I feel like they're actors acting on a show and they're playing these stories, but I finally felt like they were just in a real moment, like a dad who lost his daughter and now the daughter's finally back, and it just felt like they got lost in their moment and it felt real. So I really appreciated that.
No, I
And
thought
I
that was a
actually
great
like the
moment.
ending, how Allie was just not lost, but she was just there. While everyone was like moving around, doing their things, you saw the four girls going in to the house together, and Allie was just there. I think it's a good representation of the season and how it's going to play out, that Allie's not the center of attention anymore, and it's pretty apparent, with Mona showing up to greet Allie and reveals that she's not going to be hiding from her anymore, and that was her who sent the text message.
Well, it's like now Allie's the one on the outside.
I feel like Mona knew what she was doing. She knew that if she sent Allie that text message, that Allie was going to wrap everybody up in another lie again. Like, Allie could have told the police everything, but if Mona was calculated and she knew that when she did that, it was going to go back to the same way that Allie used to be.
Well, because she is exactly the same way that
Yeah.
Allie used to be, just on a whole different level and with a different motive. She is trying to punish Allie or get justice, as she calls it, but she by acting the same exact way. And I'm waiting for someone to kind of point that out to her and call that out. But it's everybody in that little group is doing the same thing. It's like stooping down to that level in order to get whatever justice that she feels she deserves from it, which is going to be interesting to watch that play out, especially with as cocky as she's being about it. Because, A was one thing, being secretive and scary. Mona's going to be all in your face.
And that was really, really bad writing. I did not like that at all. How can Alison not stand up to Mona? Especially, it's kind of like, I feel like that's what you created. You made her, and you gave her the confidence, and you can't stand up to her, especially Allie being who she is. She's always strong, even at her weakest point. And that was just, I felt like it was a breaking point, which it shouldn't have been.
Okay.
Yeah, we've seen Allie stand up to some pretty tough people, like strong Allie, like you're not going to do what, we've seen her do that. So but it was kind of weird to see her be timid against Mona of all people. Little dorky Mona.
Maybe it was more shock than timid.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe she was more shocked than scared. But also her speech leading, before Mona's, answer was, I'm not the same person. The girl that's in here is really gone. I can't be that way anymore. I am different. I have to be different. Let's be friends.
Yeah.
I know you hate me. I'm sorry. And then Mona comes back at her. Oh, nope. I'm not taking that.
Then she should have just switched switch right away and be like, okay, well, you want to go down that path? Let me show you what I can do.
I would have loved that.
Don't they get tired of all that scheming?
I literally would have loved once Mona was just like, and I'm not going to, and you're going to wish you stayed dead. And I wish Allie would have been like, yeah, well, bring it. Like, I wish she would have just, stepped forward in Mona's face and was like, bring it, bitch.
And did you guys catch any of the kind of symbolism with Allie and the hoodie and the black outfit throughout the episode?
Yeah.
I don't know if that, is meant to signify anything with her being involved, but, she was in a hoodie in all black, with the crowd and everything was going on around her, even though she didn't have a mask on. But it was just too significant for me to overlook that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and obviously the big reveal of the night is that, which we've touched on a little bit, is that Mrs. DiLaurentis has been killed.
Officially.
She's officially dead. The Pepe found her. It's not a good.
Poor Pepe. He's gonna be scarred for life.
It's. And I'm interested to see how Allie is going to react to that. It's one thing to be angry at your mom and think whatever you want to think about things and fight, but to find out that she actually is dead, I wonder how that's going to play out.
And she didn't get her answers, which she was looking for. So now it's back to square one of doing her own research, and she's going to have to depend on the group.
Yep. So now they have to band together.
Yeah, I kept wondering once the body was discovered if Allie's going to have some form of regret. If she's for not figuring out the answers, not having those conversations with her mom anymore, for fighting so much. I don't know what the regret will exactly be, but if regret will be part of her character.
Well, maybe that'll be the thing that switches her back on to stand up to Mona. When she goes to school, we're going to see Allie back at her finest.
I think that might help switch Jason in, being allies with his sister now and confessing and telling her the truth of what's really going on. Now that it's basically just them together.
I kind of felt in that last scene where the camera panned from low to high, where I felt like I saw a range of emotions from Allie. At first she was sad, and then as the camera raised, she looked kind of relieved a little bit. She looked kind of like, I don't know, I felt like it was like a range of things, so she doesn't know what she's feeling yet.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think it definitely could be that, and we're and the symbolism of her being by herself, I think, is definitely something to not discount, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, so much happening tonight.
Not the best episode ever.
I'm excited for the 100 episode because the whole full cast is going to be there, including Caleb.
I know.
100th episode.
Well, hopefully Aria can get it together and, calm down a little bit. I mean, I can't imagine what she's going through, but at least she has Emily, which they kind of bonded on that moment, the whole self-defense.
So who is she protecting, herself or the rest of the girls? When Emily's like, well, you did it out of self-defense. No, honey, she did it for you guys.
Everybody.
But I think it was more like the way to think about it, that it was me or you. What are you going to do? It wasn't that you didn't go cold-bloodedly murder her the way she was about to do us. Like, trying to
I don't
help
want her to
feel
get
better.
on the dark side. Once you taste blood, it's kind of like hard to step back from it.
I don't know. We'll see what's going on. Well, we have asked you guys all on YouTube and iTunes. Obviously, download our podcast. It's free. Tell your friends. Leave comments on YouTube. And we have been reading all of your comments and theories, so thank you very much. And definitely correcting if we've forgotten something in this massive 5 seasons of webs and lies and all.
We need
all
a flow
this and
chart.
that.
Someone send us a flow chart.
We're gonna make one. Everybody's gotten some cool tweets and all that, so we want to thank you guys for participating, and please continue to do that and use the hashtag PLLABTV so we can continue to chat and keep these conversations going throughout the week, because we definitely love that. So the whole controversy surrounding Ian coming back, we're still researching that, but it seems that could happen, whether it be in a flashback. I don't know.
Marlene King stated in an interview that there is a possibility of him coming back. So maybe his twin, in what capacity? I don't know. But
flashback.
In some comments, they were saying a flashback. Yeah,
flashback could work.
Yeah, so I don't think it's necessarily. He obviously has died officially on the show, but in what capacity he could come back, you never know with Pretty Little Liars.
That's very true. We've got some great theories, so I want to say thanks to Demi's Angel, which is at Demi's GYAL. She always tweets us like the best theories. We've got pictures here of notes and all of these things. So you've got a thing about that Shanna met Ezra in Georgia is your theory, when he offered to help look for Allie. And that's kind of how that whole thing kind of makes sense on how Shauna was A. And there's lots more details in which we will retweet, so you guys get the pleasure of reading all of this. So thank you so much for sending us that theory. Do you guys have some you want to share?
I mean, sorry. I thought Emma was gonna take it.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, we just love reading all of these. They're amazing, and some of them are so detailed. I have people tweeting me tweet after tweet with details of their theories, and sometimes we come in here and watch the show immediately before, so it's always fun to kind of see what you're thinking, because you have more time to think it out, and we can talk about it on our show.
I guess I'll give a shout out to Tom Valentine 31. You've always been consistent with tweeting us all the time, so thank you so much for tweeting us and sharing your theories and being excited for our podcast and after live feed and everything.
And I have to give a shout out to Georgie at Georgie Thunder. He has tweeted us some of his theories, but one I find interesting is that he said Cece speaks French, and we know A speaks French. Holbrook and Allie date at some point.
That's an interesting thought.
A has spies, and one could be in Mona's group.
I still think A is done. I personally do.
You just want it to be done. Wishful thinking.
I think it goes way too far back. I don't know. But again, please tweet us, Facebook us, leave your comments on iTunes and YouTube, and use the hashtag PLLABTV and tell us your thoughts and theories, and we will shout you out next week and hopefully just kind of get more great ideas about where this crazy show is going to take us next.
Yeah, use the hashtag. We will be looking for your hashtag.
Yes, we're going to be searching the hashtag.
Please.
Use it.
PLLABTV.
All right, you guys want to do some news and gossip?
Yeah.
Yes.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, what do you got?
Yeah, so the Teen Choice Award nominations were announced today. Woohoo! So, Pretty Little Liars and The Vampire Diaries, of course, led those nominations. Pretty Little Liars received 5. They're nominated for Choice TV Show Drama, of course. Choice TV Actor Drama, Ian Harding and Keegan Allen. And Choice TV Actress Drama, Lucy Hale and Troyan Bellisario.
Nice.
Okay.
And if you're between the ages of 13 and 19, you should definitely go on. You can vote once per day, and the show airs August 10th. So
tune in for that.
My birthday. Amazing. Super fun. Yeah. Your birthday. And Glamour did a fun kind of, I guess, one question for the cast, and they said, if you had to take a cross-country flight anywhere, which co-star would you most want to sit next to? And I wanted to ask you guys, do you have any people you would want to sit next to on a long flight?
Jake!
I personally would love to sit next to Shay Mitchell, who plays Emily. She seems like a really cool, fashionable, fun girl. She's beautiful. I think we could be best friends. So if you're
I would want Hannah to entertain me.
I know, right?
That was what a big popular answer. Ashley Benson sitting next to you. Brandon Robinson, who we've had in here. Janelle, of course, chose, and Janelle's been here too and said that they were good friends. So that makes a lot of sense.
Or Janelle too. I would love to have Janelle.
And Ian mentioned, of course, that he and Lucy have a special relationship now, and so they would have fun together. You should definitely go to glamour.com and check out more of the answers, because everybody weighed in on this, so it's really fun to see who might hang out with each other off camera. That being said, Tryon also took to her website this week and kind of talked about, I thought this was really interesting, that the Emmys doesn't often acknowledge teen dramas. And she would really like them, not even Pretty Little Liars specifically, just that there are styles and genres of shows that should be considered by the Emmys, and that's going on right now, the Emmy nominations, another award show that'll be, I think, at the end of August.
Emmys.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. The Emmys are, pretty selective about the shows and that they...
There's a lot of brilliant actors on TV right now, though, so it's hard to... While Pretty Little Liars is an amazing show and these girls are super talented and that's why their show is super successful, but there's just there's a lot of talented, skillful, technical actors that are on TV right now that are going to get the nod over Lucy Hale and Tryon.
There's actually a lot of great television right now, so the competition is fierce.
It's really fierce. Although it would be nice for them to at least get the consideration.
Yeah, she just says, there are so many different ways to tell a story with a variety of styles and genres all being celebrated and explored. So why is it that all the different types of shows being recognized this Emmy season, the ones like mine, teen shows, are written off as fluff? So I thought that was a very interesting take on it, and you should definitely go to her website and check out the full blog post.
Now, don't kill me, AfterBuzz TV fans, Pretty Little Liars fans. I don't think Pretty Little Liars is fluff at all. I love the show. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, we all are.
The competition is fierce when it comes to actors and actresses.
And it's a whole political thing going on too. So
exactly, it goes both ways. I know that the producers and stuff of a show like Sons of Anarchy, they have kind of the same complaint because on the other side of the spectrum, they don't get recognized either. So it goes both ways, and it's definitely
and also
something to think
there's a lot of campaigning that networks do for their shows.
Right.
If you live here in LA, you see billboards and all of that for campaigning for specific actors or shows to be nominated. So it is kind of one of those things about which ones they support.
Start your own campaign, Start a campaign, PLL and the Emmys.
Right. And Shay Mitchell, you sent me this article. It's a great one. She posed for Galore magazine, and it's a fun, little
sexy shoe.
Sexy
she is pretty.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah,
well, they all
I want to go
are.
on one of those wine tastings with her and Ashley Benson.
I know, right? Girls Weekend.
Thanks for the invite, girls.
Right.
Predictions. Let's do this.
I have a couple more news and gossip. But I could do it in prediction. Okay.
Whoa!
We just want to keep you guessing.
Okay.
Marlene King stated that this season they're going to be doing a Christmas episode versus a Halloween episode, which is something that she's been wanting to do for 4 years.
That'll be really fun.
So, and she is hoping to get Ezra in a Santa boxer. It is something
Sexy Santa?
Yes, it's something that he is interested in. If she can, if they could do the writing to somehow make that happen. So, will we see Ezra in boxers? I don't know. We'll see. And, the whole theory about Allie and Caleb, it's out there for people. It hasn't been confirmed, but they're saying Allie and Caleb might kiss in a whole desperate kiss that's coming up.
No.
Also, Alison and Emily and Paige are going to be in a love triangle, which is going to be the most interesting triangle of this season.
That's a given, though. That doesn't surprise me. It's always kind of been that way, even with everyone thinking Allie was dead. It was still kind of like that.
It's going to push Paige into that.
And back into that
group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting.
So, lots of fun things happening.
Really predictions.
Right, now we can do predictions.
Yes.
Yay!
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, Stephanie, go.
I have kind of an outside the box one, so I hope people will tweet me and tell me what they think. I think that Aria's father, who we kind of see occasionally, but not a lot, as we mentioned earlier, I feel like he's a part of it in the multi-generational. I don't know. I just, for a long time, kind of thought he was not as sketchy, I guess, and now I'm just thinking he's full on the dark side.
Well, we did have a flashback with those two interacting in a very awkward way, so maybe. Okay. What about you guys?
Interesting. I'm so confused with all these predictions, but one of the new predictions or theories that has came in my mind just looking at pictures and how the whole Aria character is playing out. I feel like she will be joining Team A in some capacity. I don't know in what capacity, but if you guys go back and take a look at even the billboard for the season, you know, Aria is the only one that's like standing out from the rest of the crowd, from the rest of the girls. If you really look at it, she's like the center of attention from the rest of the girls.
There was a Wet Paint article this week that talked about a few theories about that character, and one of them was that she'll go to Radley, so that there's something going on.
Are all of them
I could see that pushing her the killing.
So I don't know if she's gonna, you know, be a villain, you know, now that she's killed someone. So my prediction is she's gonna be involved in some way, some form. I don't know how.
I think if there's any character
she's gonna go dark
that could pull that off, is probably Lucy Hale.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that affects her relationship or lack of relationship with Ezra.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. A lot of people are thinking that Paige may just be playing the double agent role to kind of see what's going on, since she saw Melissa joining that group as more of a leader versus a follower in that sense. So maybe there's that. But then this whole...
I won't believe her until she tells Emily.
and you know she's not going to, because if she's got to be a spy, then no one can know. So that's going to be...
Well, hello. She was like so fast to send off the note that Allie's alive to the detectives. So you know,
I don't know.
I feel like, was she trying to speed up the whole revealing process of Allie coming out and the whole Mona team taking revenge on her? It was just too awkward.
Yeah.
I think Allie's gonna be Queen Bee again next week. She's going back to her roots.
I don't think
it was her in those heels. So
I think it's gonna be a fight for power between Mona and Allie, and I'm ready to watch.
Yes,
so we'll see what happens. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us this week. Make sure to follow us on social media at AfterBuzz TV. Also use the hashtag PLLABTV, and let's keep chatting throughout the week and see what comes of next week's episode. And make sure to, again, go to iTunes, rate, download, comment, all that good stuff. And you can follow me at, Kelly with an IE079.
And you can follow me at Stephanie Wenger.
You guys can follow me on Instagram at Francisco Thuurston, and on Twitter, TheFrancisco. I won't be here next week. I'm going to be in Miami for my birthday, so...
Happy birthday!
And you guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter at RealEmmaK, and also we're having a special discount code. It's PLABTV on EmmaK'sCloset.com.
See you guys next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.